I got a question for you
God.
two.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to the Brainrot night hosted by the Pensacola Blue Wahoos?
Oh my
No.
God.
I am
How can you
34.
not be romantic about baseball? Solis, quit acting like you're above this. We're all gonna go and we're gonna have a great time.
We're all we
34.
yes we are going to the Pensacola Blue Wahoos Brainrot night on 6/7/2026.
I am very excited for the Skibbity Toilet giveaway.
Oh God.
It is quite literally on
Is
June
baseball
7th.
dying that much? Are we at this
I
point
would
where they're
argue that this is a sign that baseball is more alive than ever.
This is a step in the right direction. I think we need
getting
more
the
of
youth
this.
involved is a big idea or a big thing.
I
But you
honestly
can't ostracize. It is the Blue
I mean,
Wahoos.
it's just
It's
a
not.
stupid fun thing. Like
Yeah.
it's it's not like the Yankees are doing this or something. It's a single A team that probably doesn't really bring in that much attendance, save for a few nights a year, and so they wanted to just try and bring people in. I get it. I'm all for it. I think it's stupid, but also really funny.
I am just wondering, what will that even look like? Like, what are they gonna do for it to be Brainrot night? Like,
Which VTuber is going to be on the big screen?
which VTuber? I
Who are
don't.
they gonna loop in for that?
How many AI generated memes are gonna be on display at Brainrot night? Probably a lot.
Oh my God, is that Queso on the big screen?
I don't think Queso's Brainrot.
Okay, so I show speed.
I show
is
speed.
gonna be on
Yes,
there.
I show speed will be
No,
there.
you know what? Let's be real. If they're gonna do any, well, he may cost too much. I was like, Mr.
Drewski will be
Beast.
on there. Not the different other Drewski.
The other Drewski, yes.
No.
Not me.
No, you just show
The
a giant
big guy
ball
with
and
the deep
Yoshi.
raspy voice.
We put the ball and Yoshi on
That
the
is
big screen.
the opposite of brain rot. That is brain peak.
Brain peak. Yes.
Question is, did they steal this idea from Banana Ball?
I don't think so.
No, I mean
'Cause it
Banana
would-
Ball is Banana Ball is just like the Harlem Globetrotters, but for baseball. Like I'm
It's
not
not
gonna
the
read that much into
same.
that.
It's better.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
way better. I want to go so
I'm with
bad.
you. I'm with you.
I
yeah,
think
if only it weren't just completely impossible to get tickets.
it's because it's so unique. They're expanding. Like
Yeah.
this year alone, they're expanding. I guess a bunch more teams, more games, etc. Bigger playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I have friends that just were excited. They got a game. They went to a game in a minor league stadium in Norfolk, Virginia, I think.
Okay.
And it wasn't even the Bananas; it was just Banana Ball, and they were just excited to get to do that. I mean, it's massive. It is like, I mean, I wasn't around obviously when the Harlem Globetrotters first became a thing, but I would imagine it was something like this. Like the nation was just mystified.
Oh, for
Same
sure.
way they are with the Bananas.
Yeah, the Harlem Globetrotters really weren't a game though, as much as it's like watching a magic show on stage.
No.
You know what I mean? It's all about skill and tricks,
Yeah,
stuff you don't implement
which
in
I would
an
be
actual
lying.
basketball game.
I went, yeah. I mean, I did go to the Harlem Globetrotters once, and I would be lying if I said I did not have a great time.
I also
so-
went to a Harlem
Right.
Globetrotters game, and that was fun to watch.
And I think that's the fun thing about Banana Ball, which is the whole point. The reason I brought it up is like mentioning bringing in the youth. It's just getting more
Yeah.
people like eyes on baseball. It's not baseball, but it could be a nice little pipeline to checking out regular baseball.
For sure.
And then they see there's a Brainrot night,
Absolutely.
and they go, "Hell yeah, let's go to Brainrot
Let's go to
night."
Brainrot night.
And the MLB benefits.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Untitled Furry Baseball Podcast. I am Argo Otter.
We never discussed.
I'm Drewski the Yosh.
We never discussed order. I was like, wait,
we
do
did
I
not
go?
discuss the order.
What do I do? I'm Solis the Wolf.
And
Hi, Solis.
hello, Solis.
How about the Mets, baby?
Let's go Mets.
Let's go, Mets.
6-0 lost to the Cardinals on Wednesday.
Oh, we're getting into this right away?
Ooh, oh, yeah, I'm jumping right in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess enjoy the wins while you can, because once we actually get into March and April, you're not going to be seeing very many of those. So, like,
Yeah.
glad your minor leaguers can beat some of our minor leaguers. Good for them.
Oh, hey, I was watching some recaps on it, and you had some of your main position players playing. Just saying.
Ooh.
No, it's spring training. It's spring
Uh,
training. I looked it
It's
up.
spring training.
Y'all had 8 hits and just weren't able to get a run across the board. We had 10 hits and we had 6 come across the
Mets
board.
baseball, baby.
it's that paints a very clear picture right there of what happened.
Yeah.
Just in general, I mean, I'm always gonna give you shit. I just looked at the schedule, dude. The Cardinals and Mets play a ton in spring training. Oh, we actually played tonight
I mean,
together. So we played
yeah,
on Wednesday
it's
and they're
kind of
playing
nuts. I
tonight
think that's just
or tomorrow
how.
night.
I think it just has something to do with their facilities being very close and like historically being linked somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We play you guys tomorrow at 105. We do
Mhm.
not play tonight. We always say we already played Houston today. We won
Tomorrow
5-0.
being
I'm
Friday.
very excited to talk about some. Yeah, tomorrow being Friday,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
27th.
Yes.
But I'm very excited to talk about what the Mets did in today's spring training game.
Yeah.
So,
And speaking of teams playing each other so much in spring training, like for example, the Mariners, we play the Padres like 6 times over spring training because we literally share a stadium in Peoria. So
yeah.
That makes sense. Well, Cardinals.
It also is weird to me how the
I was just gonna, if you got a thought, let's do that real quick, and then I was just gonna do a quick cleanup of the spring training for Cardinals. And
yeah,
then
so I was just gonna
pass
say
it.
like the funny thing I've always thought about the Mariners and the Padres is that they play for the Vedder Cup, like as in Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, and I always thought that was really weird and never understood that because I know Eddie Vedder obviously lived in Seattle, but he's a Cubs fan. He's not even a fan of either
Yeah.
team, so I kind of wonder like
I
do the fans realize?
I had no idea that it was a thing until like 2 years ago or like last year. Like I don't even know if this has been a thing for a while.
I don't know either, but I remember with the game that we went to together in Seattle and looking up at the score, being like the Vedder Cup. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
I've never heard of this. You're educating me now, and yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
kinda
exactly.
silly.
It's
Yeah.
not a known thing. I don't know why. I
mean,
have no why they're a rivalry.
I mean, Eddie Vedder
God.
quite literally made a song celebrating the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016. He is a Cubs fan, and I'm sure he has connections to Seattle and San Diego, which is fine. But like, he's not a fan of other team. It just feels very weird.
Very weird.
ADHD moment. Speaking of baseball teams and moving and stuff, I heard that the Bears are locking it. It's not official, but it's supposed to be really close to being solidified to be in Arlington Heights. I guess some special committee has to vote on it. But there was a talk of, I forgot what TikTok I was watching. It was a sportscast show, and some guys like, if the Bears were smart and Arlington Heights were smart, they would try to lure the White Sox to come down to Arlington Heights as well and make it a baseball football city, so that it wouldn't just be football. Roughly half the year, you would also have all of the baseball
kind
there
of
too.
have a setup.
Yeah, and I heard that. I'm like, you know what? That would be kind of cool, actually. I think that would be a great move for everybody. So willing that into existence, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm usually more of a proponent of ballparks just being within the cities, being in a walkable area, accessible by transit. But like, I mean, if you're really looking to keep the Bears in Illinois, and I think, luring the White Sox with them to Arlington Heights would be a good move to make that happen.
Could be cool.
And it would be cool if they did kind of something similar to what the Braves did with the Battery and, just build from the ground up and build your own little district there with bars and restaurants and stuff.
Right.
I think that'd be the way to go.
It would be a really big thing for Arlington Heights. It would bring more year-round traffic in general, and it's close enough to Chicago that you're still going to call it Chicago Bears, and the transit and all that stuff should all work out too. So it was an interesting thought. Sorry about the little ADHD tangent.
It's all good.
No, you're fine. We win the Bears. It is ridiculous. There's no reason that they should have ever considered moving to Indiana. So I'm glad that that's hopefully dead and not going to happen.
It's the McCaskies being greedy little bitches. I still will never like them. and they used it as a bargaining chip the whole way. There was no way it was going to Gary/Hammond, Indiana. No way. But it's scary to think it could have been. I mean, they would have nuked a complete franchise built in tradition. It'd have been absolutely nuked. So, I mean, unless you want to completely restart tradition in 2026/7, fuck, that's a meme.
I mean,
Oh, no.
I personally, I would not be surprised if the Indiana
Brainrot.
talks were just to move Arlington Heights to action. I mean, that's
State of Illinois in
probably
general,
what
yeah.
it was.
It was a bargaining
Yeah,
chip. Hey,
exactly.
we have other
Yeah.
suitors, and they are already like throwing down big fat stacks, and they were. Indiana was really jumping on that shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, it looks like I might get to still be a Bears fan at this rate. Still hasn't been completely
Yeah.
finalized.
I'm happy for you.
Thank God, dude. We finally
I
got a
am also
quarterback that
very
I'm
happy
happy
for
to
you.
watch. I look back at Cutler and I just missed my glory years on that. I just didn't realize the game well enough back then. But that's football. We're not here to talk football. We're here to talk spring training baseball real quick. Cardinals are 4-2 in the spring training. Some young guns blowing some late leads. People we probably won't see in our roster anyway this year. They're going to be in the minors. Starting pitching, I guess five out of our possible 7 starting pitchers in our rotation. Obviously, there's going to be a couple people fighting for spots, those 4th, 5th spots. They have pitched, and they've all done relatively well. Couple home runs given up over the 5 that have pitched already. Well, so I don't know about today because I didn't look up the stats today. I got off work, and here we are. So it's looking good. I will say in general, now granted it's spring training, so you're not going against the best pitching period. You're just not. In the 6 games, all of our wins have been with 5 runs or more.
Yeah.
So good offense so far. Today being like a 9 to something win. I just had it up too. That's good. I like the offense. The offense seems pretty good. But, we'll see how that translates to the regular season and against real pitching.
The Mariners in the Cactus League went 3-3-1 because they tied with the Royals. I'm a little confused because I'm looking at today's game where we played against the Guardians, and it says that there was a forfeit in the 9th inning, and I'm a little bit confused by that. I'm trying to look into why that was because
foreshadowing. Somebody got pissed off at the ABS call.
What is up with this game? If I can actually pull up this game, Drewski, if you want to talk about the Mets, go ahead.
Yeah, today, great spring training game. They beat the Astros 5-0. Most importantly, it was the spring debut of Nolan McLean, and I mean, he was the guy that was called up really almost out of necessity. Crazy you're talking about calling up your top prospect to save the season, but he was as advertised and he performed, and he's right back to form today. 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 6 Ks. You had Tyrone Taylor hit a home run today. Marcus Semien hit his first home run in a Mets uniform today. I just think overall the vibes are really good with this team, and I think that's something that was off last year. I think there are a lot of guys that just weren't getting along in the clubhouse, and I mean, you already got guys that are 4 or 5 guys that are getting together to plan a mini golf outing. So they're playing really fun and loose on the field, and I think we're set up for a good season. I'm not going to talk too prematurely about what they're going to do, but I personally am feeling really good.
So I have to ask, in your opinion, were the vibes off last year before or after the start of the collapse?
I don't think that they were quite as off before, but I mean, there's been rumors for years about it. A couple of guys that are no longer on the team, thankfully, but that they may have been some of the source of that negativity, and I think there's just a noticeable difference with them being gone, and adding a guy like Freddie Peralta, like right after he got traded, he was being interviewed and mentioned that every Sunday, after the day game, everybody was going to his house and they were all hanging out there. So I think he's obviously a guy with ace level stuff, and it's good to add someone like that. But just someone with his personality, and
Oh
I
yeah.
could definitely picture him being this year's glue guy. And also, speaking of teams that play each other a lot in spring training, the Mets also play the Astros a lot. Today
Mhm.
was already their second spring training game against the Astros, and they still have 4 more. So,
Yeah, we
talking about the Mets and the Cardinals playing each other a lot. They play the Cardinals 4 times total, or 5 times total,
Yep.
and they play the Astros 6 times. So Astros got them slightly
Yeah,
better.
our next 5 games are Mets again, and then it's the next 4 are split between Miami and Pittsburgh. So you get to see them, and then
Yeah.
Baltimore, and then we're back to the Mets. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that.
Anyway, back to the
Washington.
Mets.
Yeah.
All right, I
Yeah,
wasn't
back
able to
to
find an answer onto why there was a forfeit, but I mean, it was in the 9th inning anyways, so I don't really think there was really anything notable about that. But the one thing that I did notice from this most recent game is Colt Emerson is a dog. Colt Emerson, I am so hyped for him. I was already hyped for him going into the season, and now I'm even more hyped because today he went 2 for 3 with an RBI triple, which is fucking hype. So I'm really excited to see what he can do in the regular season if we give him enough opportunities to hit. He's been batting in the 9 spot on the order from the games that I've seen so far of him. I don't think he's going to stay in that spot. But yeah, I've been really excited to see what he's got this year.
Interesting. I will say I think he came out and played a little bit what was it? Last year? I want to say
Colt?
he was last year. For the Cardinals, he's a right-handed pitcher reliever. He did
Oh,
not have a great spring training game the other day. Um his last name is Blewett.
Blewett.
Scott Blewett.
Oh yeah,
Blewett.
Scott Blewett. Yup.
Scott Blewett. And I saw him, and
Meme
I keep
waiting to
thinking about that,
happen.
and it's
That's an
like,
unfortunate
you're
last
not
name.
allowed to play baseball or any sport, right? You can't. Your name is like automatically a jinx.
You especially can't be a relief pitcher, man.
Yeah, that's rough.
That is probably about the worst position you could play in any sport with a last name like Blewett.
Hey, he's been able to make it to the
That or
majors though with
kicker
that
in
last
the
name.
NFL.
Yeah, I guess he was with Kansas City in 2020, 2021. And then in 20, I don't know why it skips to 24. Maybe there was an injury or something. 24, he was in Minnesota, and now he was in 3 teams last year. He's in a minor league contract with us right now, but I saw that name again. I had to at least say something because oh my god, what a name! Oh, Cardinals, you gotta stay away from that, guys. To be fair, if the guy somehow pulled together a Hall of Fame career, it is kind of a goated name to have to go. It's either famine or you're goated, right? You're either your name is your last name and it's true, you blow it all the time and you're awful, or the guy can go Hall of Fame level and have like the craziest fun story with a last name like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his career does not look like Hall of Fame level. But
Unfortunately.
the big thing about spring training, I know I've sent you both TikToks about it.
Oh yeah.
The ABS call system.
Yeah. If you don't know what ABS is, it is automated ball strike, I think is what it stands for.
Yes.
It is essentially a system where a batter and pitcher, they both can make a decision to call on it, right?
And catcher.
And catcher. Oh, okay.
Yep.
They can decide after a pitch is thrown to challenge the call. And then they will go to a video review or like a simulated review of the pitch to see if the pitch was in fact a ball or a strike. And from the video that Solis sent me earlier, on day one, I believe there were day one of spring training, there were 20 challenges, and of those 20, 3/4 of them overturned, which is really interesting. 15 of 20.
I actually watched a John Boy video today. while
We
playing
love
in the
John Boy.
background of work. And he did a little bit of sleuthing as well on one of the biggest egregious nights against, I think it was the Yankees. I can't remember. Where the umpire got challenged 5 times and lost all 5 calls. And I
Ooh.
think you've probably seen it because it's one of the first challenged calls ever with the system in spring training, and it's like almost down the middle. It's 3 inches in the zone. Like, it was just a really bad call by the ump, and it was such an easy challenge. He went 0 for 5 against it, and he broke it down because I was also thinking, okay, there was 5 challenges. He missed all 5 challenges, but an umpire is going to see 100 plus pitches a game. They're going to be in the 120, 160 range, probably somewhere in that range between starting and relief pitchers. Oh, well, actually 200 plus, right? Because it'd be both sides.
Yeah.
But he broke it down, and basically he cut out all of the pitches that were swung on because it doesn't matter. He's not going to be able to call a ball or strike on a swung on ball. He's anything that wasn't close, so like in the dirt or right down the gut where the batter's even like, yep, that's a strike, I should have swung on that kind of stuff. He didn't count. So he basically went in and cut out as many of the pitches he could, and then only included the pitches that you might challenge. And he came up with, I think it was like 26 pitches total would have been challengeable, and 5 of those were challenged, and he lost those 5 challenges. So it was almost an 80% call rate, which is kind of rough. That's not good when you're, balls and strikes make the game.
When it's
Changes
your
it
sole
at
job
bat.
to do that.
So, and it'll be interesting to see these kind of statistics coming out as long as we use this, and what it'll do to umpiring. Because another big thing I thought about while this is, you're not allowed to, in so many ejections, especially some of these umpires were super quick to eject some players over ball and strike calls. But with this whole system, that kind of like subverts that really hard, because instead of arguing with the damn
Yeah.
ump, you just pop the call on the ABS system. So this will be interesting. It's absolutely game changing.
I'm worried this could end up being some kind of situation where, ump makes a bad call and then they challenge it and the challenge goes through, and they end up taunting at the ref, or not the ref, the umpire, and it could cause some other issues there where, like telling the ump to get it together because they got it so obviously wrong by the review, and the ump gets mad, and then there's still going to be ejections. But I think you're right. There's definitely going to be less ejections based off of ball and strike calls because you can just call to check.
Which I was wondering,
Exactly.
I was trying to look it up. I didn't know if they had a certain amount of times they can call it, or is it every single one?
I think it's one. Is it one per inning or one per at bat?
I was trying to look that up. Well, it says challenges 2 per team, but if you successfully challenge, you get to keep your challenges. But that doesn't
I
make
was gonna
sense.
say, I think it's like
That sounds like the regular challenge
managerial
goal.
challenges.
Yeah, so thank you, Google AI, for fucking that up. God, I remember when you used to be able to Google stuff and it just gave you the freaking answers and not just throws
I
together
mean,
every
even
little
like
thing and
even the
scrapes.
original summary they used to have, like I don't know if it was AI or not, but they used to have a summary where you would search and it would just be right at the top of the page, and it would just answer whatever you needed an answer. But I did look up on the official MLB website. It is 2 challenges apiece, and you do get an extra challenge for extra innings.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
each
okay.
extra inning.
Some other highlights that I'm seeing here on the ESPN website, some interesting stuff that probably will come into play at some point, but also like not really necessary to come into play. It cannot be challenged if it's a position player pitching. Let's see here.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Which I don't. Which there has been more of. There's been more of that happening, but I don't see why you'd challenge that anyways. Because if you're having a position player pitching, you're getting crushed.
You are crushing another team. Like if you're up by 10 and it's the 8th inning, like you don't need to challenge to strike a ball call. Like, come on, man, just get on with your life.
Yeah, that's like in I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's very baseball like. That's like, yeah, you're up 11 to
Yeah.
nothing, and you're still swinging for the fences for some reason. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I
Don't.
think overall with the ABS system, it's going to take some time to get players and umps and managers adjusted. And I do think they'll eventually find the sweet spot of, you know, feeling comfortable challenging the ones you should call challenge, but also in a way that doesn't really interfere with the flow of the game all that much. And I mean, it's a
Can
pretty quick process.
and I don't know if this is something that would be amendable, but something I've always thought, especially with baseball, and even though I know my team, I think every team has always, been on both sides of this coin of benefiting and or being screwed by a ball or strike call in a game, like a very, 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 very like clutch moment in a game, be it bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 3 on, full count, and it misses the zone by a quarter of an inch, and he calls it the strike, even though it should have been a walk in the run. Uh,
Hmm.
that's but that ended the game. I wonder if because I'm seeing, if there's only two challenges, you'd be telling your pitcher and you should be telling your catcher, like, you don't waste these. Now in spring training it's different because it doesn't these games don't matter. But
No,
if this
yeah.
is implemented in regular season, like you want to save those and make sure like you are for certain they made the wrong call, because if you waste those and then bottom of the ninth comes up and there's that 3-2 count and you have the chance to do it all and then you can't challenge it, I don't think in this current setup that a close call like that gets reviewed. And I think kind of like football has like scoring reviews, all scoring reviews are like, or all
Yeah.
scoring plays are
Scoring,
reviewed.
turnovers.
Something that could be a close baller strike that to end the game or end a very clutch situation, I think should always be reviewable, because I think it's more important to get the call right than it is to have an ego and be like, well, that was the call. I know that's how the game has been played for over 100 years, but that's why we're implementing this technology, you know?
It could be something
Mhm.
like kind of theorizing what that could look like. Something like if it's going into extra innings, if it comes down to a like a two, like a 0-2, 1-2, 2-2 count, any count where there's two strikes, maybe
Hmm.
like review that pitch,
Yeah, like if it's gonna
maybe even limit it down to like full counts.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things, because I do agree it doesn't have to be a full count, because if it's an 0-2 and he calls a strike on a ball, that's still game changing
Yeah,
there, but it
for
wasn't a
sure.
full count. You know what I mean? So I'm just of the mind that it's about getting it right to make the game. It's taking the RNG and human point part of the umpire out of those incredibly clutch moments, which I think is important, because and I would love to see some baseball people out there really dig deep and look through some games that were controversial calls that ended
Yeah.
games and showcase like how big of a deal that is and how much more important it is. That's when you really want to review those balls and strikes to get it right. Because now I will say, like, even in the spring training already, there's been a couple overturned calls that were, I don't know how accurate the system is. They are claiming it's obviously massively accurate, because it's like overturning a strike to a ball and it missed the zone by like,
It was point
oh
0.1 inch.
god,
There was one that was
less than
point 0.1
point.
inch.
It was less than point 0.1 inch on the thing, and it looked like, I don't know, you could squeeze a skittle in there,
You could
maybe less.
even
I don't
less.
know. It
It's
was,
like you
I
could
saw
barely
that as
squeeze like a
well. That was
penny in there.
nuts.
yeah, like a penny in there. And to my argument there is like, is that accurate? A, and B, like, I don't know. I feel like that gets really rough. You know what I mean? Because people are gonna argue that all the day
If it's
anyways.
something that close, though, in most cases, somebody would not call for a challenge on that.
I
I was
think
gonna
it
say I
is
feel like they're
insane.
usually not gonna challenge. I mean, this is definitely I mean, like you said, these are spring training games, and I think guys also want to just get used to the system.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're gonna see. I think you'll see plenty of ridiculous examples of. Well, I mean, it might just be like a hundredth of an inch out of the strike zone, so I'm gonna challenge it. But yeah, I mean, in the regular season and more meaningful games, and in the postseason, obviously, I think guys are gonna be have a bit more discretion with the calls they're gonna challenge. So yeah, again, I think this is a feeling out period, and guys are just gonna, do whatever as far as challenging it, but it's not gonna stay that way.
Something else
I'm
Oh,
excited.
go ahead.
I'll just say I'm excited for it. Honestly, I am definitely one of those people that I would rather those calls be made correctly versus people being like, "Oh, it's just up to the baseball gods and RNG." And did sweat get in his eye and he blinked? Like, okay, like I would rather
Yeah.
it get it right, even if it goes against my Cardinals. Every team has benefited. I don't know what the weighted is. It's probably literally team based and situation based on how many they either benefited or didn't benefit from the calls. But this is the equalizer, and it kind of takes out some of the worst RNG out of a game that's supposed to be built around skill.
Right.
Yeah.
So, speaking of ABS, a place that will not have ABS is the upcoming World Baseball Classic, which starts next week.
What's the World
Which
Baseball
is not
Classic?
it's not really surprising. ABS is just being introduced just now in the MLB. I could see this in like the next World Baseball Classic, them having ABS. But there will be no be no ABS in the World Baseball Classic, but there will be a pitch clock.
Ooh.
So World Baseball Classic starts next week on March 6th for pools A, B, and D, and March 5th for pool C because it's in Japan, so time zone difference and stuff.
That makes sense.
And yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? What do we want to talk about with the World Baseball Classic?
I'm a bad baseball
I'm
fan.
excited.
I
I'm
don't pay
excited. I
attention
mean,
to-
we're also sorry. I mean, we're also starting, early on next week on March 3rd, with a few games of, spring baseball teams and spring training playing against national teams. So I think it's going to be fun. I mean, as a Mets fan, I probably have a slight bad taste in my mouth after the last one. But that guy's not even on our team anymore, so I am gonna fully enjoy it. There's a lot of guys that are really, really excited to represent their country, and we're all excited to see them.
I definitely am too. Are there any because I'm assuming Solis, you were saying that you haven't really paid much attention to World Baseball Classic.
I forget it's a thing. I really honestly paid attention to a lot of Cardinals stuff. I wasn't really big on paying attention to the entire league. This podcast is going to allow me to further pay attention to more baseball, which will be
Right.
fun.
Same here.
My only thought is, because I'm not paying too much attention to it, is do you think the MLB just like takes this as like a, oh look, we can see future prospects, or who can we
Yeah.
get to come over to our side?
In a way, yeah.
Where's the next Shohei?
in a way, because the World Baseball Classic used to not be as big of a thing because a lot of these Major League Baseball teams wouldn't let their players go play in it.
Yes.
For the longest time until pretty much the last World Baseball Classic, they finally were like, okay, yeah, you guys can play. And then that ended up being absolute cinema. That final game between US and Japan was cinema.
I was gonna ask you all that. Do you think, because there's a point to where spring training is more about finding your swing, or finding your arm slots and getting comfortable back up on the mound, and more live game practice where it's not a real game with consequences, but it's still you can still treat it like a real game. Whereas the World Baseball Classic, I mean, you are playing for something, Um, do you think it's better to go play on a team in the World Baseball Classic, or attend spring training with your team? That's for both of you to answer.
I mean, the World Baseball Classic has been going on for a while. I'm pretty sure the first one was in like 2009. So we've had nearly 2 decades of guys that are doing both. You're going to start the year at spring training, and then you'll end up in Miami or Arizona or LA or wherever your pool is playing. And I mean, the guys that are going to play in the World Baseball Classic, with a few exceptions, are all usually veterans that have been on their team for a few years. And so, I guess I can understand there being some concern about team building, and, to there maybe being more of a benefit of having spring training with your team rather than playing for your national team. But um, the flip side is you're playing much more competitive baseball at the World Baseball Classic than you would be at spring training.
Right.
And I think that's as good a thing as any to ramp guys up and get them ready for the regular season.
And you're representing your country as well. I think that is up. I think for a lot of players, I can't speak for players, but like I think playing for a team that represents where you're from is like on the same level as playing for a team that you are drafted on for in the MLB.
I mean, I think especially for like a lot of these Latino players, like
yes,
it's even greater.
It's huge.
I mean, look what just happened at the Olympics. I mean, look at all the pride those guys are taking and representing their country and winning for their country. I think that's magnified tenfold. I mean, even though the World Baseball Classic obviously isn't on the same level as the Olympics, guys from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Cuba that, came from nothing and now are international superstars because of baseball. Those are the guys that are proudest to represent their country.
Yeah, and
so
those guys,
that's what makes the World Baseball Classic special.
And those guys are like absolute superstars in their countries too, being able to, on the big stage and then giving back to their country and playing for a team representing them. And speaking of these teams, Drewski, do you have any favorites for this year in the World Baseball Classic?
Anything other than USA?
USA. I mean, yeah, it's USA is always competitive. Japan is competitive. I mean, I think an interesting team to watch this year is going to be Puerto Rico, because there are numerous guys, including Carlos Correa and Francisco Lindor, that are not going to be able to play due to not being able to get insurance for the tournament. So, these big superstar level players that normally would be representing Puerto Rico will not be this year. So, curious to see if they can still make any noise. But I mean, the obvious favorites for me are still U.S., Japan, and Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I can agree there. I think those three are definitely the big three. I think Japan is still my number one in all of this. However, I think they're a little bit weaker than they were when they won last. And the reason
is Shohei playing for them.
Shohei is playing, but he's only hitting. He is not pitching. That's to note. And then there's also some other pitchers that are not participating. Roki Sasaki and Yu Darvish are both not participating. But
Darvish is still around.
Yeah.
And
Shota Imanaga.
I know there was speculation he was going to retire, but he did not.
I thought after the Cubs he was kind of a wash.
Yeah, they've still got top tier pitching though. They've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's still pitching on that team, and then they've obviously got Shohei Ohtani, who's, even though he's not pitching, he's still going to be probably the MVP of the entire tournament. Even though he's only hitting this time around. But I think,
can hit, man.
Yeah.
what can you say against them, man? It's just Jesus.
Yeah. Drewski, do you have any sleeper teams?
Sleeper teams. I mean, I feel like the Netherlands are always an interesting one to watch. There are a lot of guys from Curacao that represent them. I mean, yeah. I think it's usually always been U.S., Japan, Dominicans. Puerto Rico's obviously usually made some noise, but with them being short a few guys this year, I don't think they'll really do much.
I think they still have a shot. They are playing in Puerto Rico.
That is a fair point.
They do get the home country advantage in their pool, which their pool, I think they also got a pretty good draw for their pool. Yeah, they're playing in their pool Cuba, Canada, Panama, and Colombia. And I think Canada is really the only other big issue for them in there.
Yeah.
Because Canada's
Colombia, Cuba
got
are just.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say Colombia, Cuba, Panama. Just I would assume just don't have the same size pool of talent, right? You start
Yeah, I mean, Cuba has in the past, but not really anymore. I mean, Canada has. They have some solid names. You have Jameson Taillon representing them this year. They have a few major league level players at least. Where there are some teams that just are not gonna have really any actual major league talent. You know, Canada has Josh Naylor as well.
Josh and Bo Naylor.
So it's not both the Nailers. That is correct. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be a complete wash. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely not put them. They're probably in that second tier of teams that have some solid major league talent on them, but I don't really think we'll ultimately be able to compete to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think it just makes sense as somebody who doesn't. Again, I'm not big on the World Baseball Classic. It makes sense to say obviously USA. For any American baseball fan who doesn't realize it, that Japan has a massive. I know since Shohei's come over, I think more people have become aware of it, but Japan has a massive baseball culture over there, which I guess.
I mean, American culture in general is huge over there.
True. So it kind of bleeds off of that, but yeah, Japan, and that's why they're up there. It's like, man, they have such a, if not more, somewhat more dedicated fan base to their teams. Starting to push like football levels, not American football, soccer, if you will, of dedication to their fan bases. Some of them, our baseball teams can, we can get that fan base, but we're not as crazy. You don't have to separate our fans in our stadiums like you do, you know. And Japan's not quite to that level, but they're up there. So it's always like, yeah, USA, Japan, because the baseball culture is there, and obviously we have the World Series.
Japan Japan has much more focus on their younger talent compared to here, because have you heard of the Koshin? The Koshin is crazy. It is a March Madness style one game you're out, one loss you're out type bracket. They have to like pause their NPB games, their professional baseball games in Japan. They have to pause those for like a good month or so or something, so that they can run this like high school level tournament of just high schools from across Japan.
I have heard of this.
Yeah, and it's a single elimination fucking March Madness style bracket, and it is crazy. And people it is like nationally televised. They're watching that all the time. There's a really good video by Baseball Doesn't Exist on that.
I'll have to look that up. I know that's a big important, I think, part when it comes to choosing like contenders in the World Baseball Classic is to really look at the culture of the sport within the country. Obviously we have a lot of good players, like you were saying, coming out of like the Dominican and Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So that's why you kind of, if they have that kind of talent and those cultures are there, they're going to perform better. It's much less likely for somebody like the Netherlands to have a surprisingly like great team.
Well, the Netherlands is an exception.
Is it really?
Because they have Curacao is one of their territories. It's in the Caribbean. There have been a lot of big name baseball players. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I mean they have Xander
maybe Israel.
Andrew Jones.
I would not expect Israel
I think
to be like a
better example.
Or
again,
Czechia.
Czechia is another good one.
Czechia is so funny.
Italy as well. Italy is one that's
Okay, Italy is my dark horse. I'll be real with you. I'm saying that entirely because they have both Dominic Canzone and Miles Mastrobuoni on their team, and those are two of my goats with the Mariners. I fucking love Miles Mastrobuoni. I want to talk about Miles Mastrobuoni. He is probably one of my favorite players on the Mariners, and he hardly gets to play because he's one of those like support players who fills any role and is just really fast on the bases.
Oh, so he's like a pinch runner or
pinch runner, yeah.
Or you need to play no doubles defense, so you go stick him in the outfield because he's fast as fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, unfortunately though for Italy, they're in kind of a group of death with the United States and Mexico, which we need to talk about. Mexico, they're going to be pretty insane. They got Andres Munoz and Randy Rosarena, and Randy, from what I've read up here, is Randy like kind of pops off in World Baseball Classic compared to MLB season.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I'm hoping Team USA gets back on top this year, but it's going to be a fun tournament regardless.
It's going to be so fun. I'm excited.
When these guys come to play. So
I was gonna say, you speak of Randy Rosarena, and I just have to go, man, he was a Cardinal. We got rid of him. We shouldn't have. That was definitely one of the ones. Wait, he says he's born in Cuba though.
I think
he was.
I think he has family or something or like
I was
relatives.
I'm not sure what the rules on what allows you to play for a certain country.
I know the guidelines are pretty loose. Like
okay, so
Marcus Stroman was born and raised in
born in Cuba, like raised Marcus in Mexico. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, yeah, like Marcus Stroman was born and raised in the U.S., had previously pitched for the U.S., and then went and represented Puerto Rico in a later tournament. I believe his mom is Puerto Rican. So I don't think the guidelines are all that strict as far as what country you have to represent. So you even remember, Brandon Nimmo a few years ago was talking about representing Team Italy because, Brandon Nimmo has been a pretty good player his entire career, but he's definitely not on the level that all of the American players are on. He's not good enough to really have a spot on that team. But, I do think it's cool that guys would, otherwise would not get a chance to represent at the World Baseball Classic do get their chance. I think it's a little weird, but ultimately very cool.
Okay, looking at just looked up why Randy's playing for Mexico. It's because he defected from Cuba in 2015 to Mexico and got Mexican citizenship in 2022, and then explicitly requested to represent Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm all for it, to be honest with you. I think that actually helps the World Baseball Classic. I think that makes a lot more accessibility for some of those star players to move around and to be in the maybe countries that I don't know, I guess it diversifies the pool out there a little bit more and hopefully can make Mexico a stronger team, which would be lovely to see, Granted though, Cuba's over here probably going, hey, what about us, guy? Come on, come over here, play for us, man. So actually it's kind of funny. Is there any sort of, I was wondering, is there any sort of compensation for the players to play in the World Baseball Classic?
That is a good question.
I'm sure there is.
Because my thought process is, especially when you sign these big multi-million-dollar deals with big names and stuff, I think a lot of reason why you may exclude people from going to the WBC is because of it is more competitive, which I think does prepare you a little bit more for the regular season, but also because you're playing harder, injury risk goes up. And if you're paying people millions of dollars and they're not playing for your team and they get injured or something, then you're going to feel real stupid,
Yeah.
Imagine if it goes out because they break an arm or something crazy. Like that'd be fucking horrible.
like I said, I experienced Edwin Diaz destroying his knee 3 years ago. So, I know firsthand that guys can get hurt, and it's part of it. They're playing as hard as they would in any regular season or postseason game. It means a lot to them, so stuff's gonna happen. But on the topic of compensation, I did look it up. The total prize pool in 2023 was $14.4 million. I cannot find the prize pool for this year, but that kind of broke down in 2023 as each team gets a total of $300,000 for participating. They would get $300,000 more if they win their pool, 400,000 if they reach the quarterfinals, 500,000 if they reach the semifinals, 500,000 if they reach the championship game, and the team that wins the title gets 1 million. So, I mean, one team can get up to $3 million for the tournament if they win the tournament and also win their pool.
Okay. So I guess that's not no money for the players. My other thought then
No,
is,
yeah.
especially if you're signed to a major league team, does the team get anything for it, or is it really you just have to ask your team to go? Because I'm assuming you can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to go do this." You're under contract with your major league team.
I don't even know that you need your team's permission, because I remember that being a contentious topic a couple of years ago. When
Oh.
Edwin Diaz got hurt, about would MLB teams start restricting their uh, players from going, and I think ultimately there's not really that much they can do. I mean, they can obviously tell the players, "Hey, we really don't want you to, go play in this game and risk injury," but I don't know that it's the team's choice at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
don't
could
think so.
argue that spring training, you're less likely to get injured as you would be in the WBC. It doesn't mean you wouldn't, maybe, because if it's something like a torn something in your arm and you don't know it yet, it may still happen in spring training. But it's one of those, I guess it's hindsight 2020 kind of shit. Until it happens, then you go, oh,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't have played in the WBC, you would have been fine. But I think this is a perfect time to involve our audience, a little audience interaction. If you know more about the WBC and this kind of stuff, please leave comments down below. Let us know how that kind of works. If players really have to like work with their teams, if it's a contract issue, I would love to hear about it. Also, let me know how your team's doing in spring training.
Yeah. And also let us know which team you think is going to take it all in the World Baseball Classic. Personally, I think the US can do it. I think Team USA can do it.
I think what's more important
I think
is
they're going to
who's
keep the
in
train
spring
rolling
training.
after the men's and women's hockey team won gold at the Olympics, and I think the USA is going to win
When
the World Baseball Classic.
I mean, I don't think you could
They're
ever
going to be
discount the
blasting
US.
Freebird all day and all night.
Man, if they use
You'll
Freebird
never
again.
ever be able to discount the US just because of its insane talent pool. And people
Yeah.
that can commit to play on that team. It's definitely one of those things where the baseball gods giveth and taketh, and
Right.
any given series is always going to be, uh, you know, especially because these people in all the other countries, they don't really all play together. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
you're always going to deal with, how well people gel together. And yeah, it'll be interesting no matter what. It's always good to watch. Cardinals are going to win the spring training, though.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
I got to take my wins while I can,
In
man.
the part of the season that definitely matters the most.
Absolutely. Last thing, because this is random and I completely think this falls in line with kind of talking, unless you want to talk a little bit more about the WBC.
I'm good. You can go ahead.
I was thinking about injury, right? And how football took away the meaningfulness of the pro game because they were tired of people getting injured in the pro games.
Hmm.
And the same thing, I think it was the last year they fucking did it for baseball, and the Cardinals benefited from it. Was the All-Star game gave us the home field advantage in the NL in 2011 because
Uh-huh. That was
we
like
were
the one World Series that really got affected by that rule.
if it was in Texas, if they had home field the whole for the World Series, we lose that series. The fact that
Yeah, probably.
an All-Star game, the National League won and gave us the National League team in the World Series the home field advantage is one of the many key pieces as to why they were able to pull that comeback like World Series. So
Wait, I didn't
I mean,
actually. I
especially
don't think I realized that
considering
was the thing.
how
oh yeah,
yeah, I mean, especially considering how
they got rid of it.
dominant the AL was in the All-Star game during that period. They were winning like basically every year. So to have one of the few World Series the National League did, or few All-Star games the World National League did win, result in that big of a swing in the World Series, it's pretty crazy to think about.
Yup.
I mean, it's the
So
same. I mean, a few years later, when 2015 All Star Game, when a fuck ton of Royals fans just made the starting lineup 7 Kansas City Royals, Mike Trout, and Jose Altuve, and they just had to throw out the votes and start over. I mean, as a fan of the team that was the National League representative in the World Series that year, it would have been great to have that lineup because the NL would have won and the Mets would have had home field advantage in that World Series. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it was dumb, and it was a panic move by Bud Selig. Uh, and I'm glad it's back to what it traditionally was, where it's just, hey, did you have the better record? Then you get home field advantage. That's how it should be.
I do miss the All-Star game meaning anything. Same thing with the pro game for NFL. I I have trouble watching them nowadays. The competitiveness just isn't there, and I know they're there to have fun, but I'm just like, eh. I'm not. I don't want to see celebrity
I mean,
football, basically, or flag football.
it's so for baseball at least, it's so much more about the home run derby.
Oh,
Yes,
Like the
very
absolutely.
home run
much.
derby is so much more fun to watch than the game itself. Although I will say, the baseball All Star game has generally been more competitive than like the NBA or NFL. I think guys do actually try, regardless of whether or not the outcome has any meaning. Whereas in the NBA, you have All Star games that finish like 212 to 208 because nobody plays any defense.
Yeah. What? But like, wasn't this year? Wasn't um? I'm blanking on his name. Uh, the guy, dude on the Spurs. Why am I forgetting his name? Yeah,
Wembyama,
Wembanyama. Yes.
Victor
Didn't
Wembanyama.
he like really try hard at the All-Star game this year?
Yeah, I mean he's obviously a young player who definitely probably still has a chip on his shoulder. So I think that maybe is a part of it. It also probably helps that he's only played in 44 games at this point in the year.
Mm,
So he probably had a bit fresher legs than a lot of the other guys.
that's fair.
Cough, cough.
That's a story for a different day.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that in this video, but it's certainly a thing that exists.
All right, I think that might
Yeah,
be a good point to
I,
wrap it up, unless you have something else.
I did double check because I was interested. The winner takes all rule, uh, which is what it was called when it was reached part of the collective bargaining agreement back in 2016, took away the uh home field advantage in the All-Star game. That rule was in place for All-Star games from 03 to 2016. So it wasn't the last year the Cardinals were in it.
Hmm.
There was 5 years after that,
No, yeah,
surprisingly.
there were 5 years. Like I said, 2015.
Yeah.
Just basically starting the whole AL voting over because of all the Royals. But yeah, I mean, 2016 was the last World Series, and that was I mean, obviously the Guardians had home field advantage and the Cubs ended up winning, so I don't really know if we can say that that had any effect on that series, but it's still something interesting to think about. I mean, imagine if the Cubs got to win Game 7 at home. I don't know. I think Wrigley might have just gotten so loud it just spontaneously combusted.
That's
All
baseball
right,
for you.
baseball. We are so back. Baseball is so back,
We're in.
guys.
We're back, baby.
All right. Well, I
Let's
hope you
go
guys. Let's go baseball. I hope you
baseball.
guys enjoyed listening to this episode of the Untitled Furry Baseball Podcast. Working title, by the way.
Yeah, eventually that might change.
I think it'd be funnier if it doesn't change, and I just keep saying that it's a working title.
I think we'll never know.
We'll never
It
know.
either will or it won't. I think it's more fun to not know.
I think so too. And with that note, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Give us some feedback on what you guys are liking, what you guys want to hear us talk about, anything at all, what your thoughts are on the World Baseball Classic, literally anything you want, even just introducing yourself. Hope you all have a good one.
Good luck to your teams. May what's that Hunger Games line?
May the odds be ever in your favor.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
All right, take care, everyone.